Don't wait 10 years. Don't wait 10 minutes. Don't even wait 10 seconds. The time to start is now.
The more you commit yourself to becoming the best person you can be, the more you like yourself and respect yourself, the more energy you have, the bigger goals you set for yourself, the more you persist. When you invest in yourself and you read and learn and upgrade your skills, you're telling yourself, wow, I am a person with a great future, and it's up to me to maximize my potential. And your self-esteem goes up, your self-respect goes up, your sense of personal pride goes up.
Your growth frightens those with no plans of changing. You've changed, we heard. That's what they said when we started to grow. We now have a clearer vision. We have a smaller circle. We're going, we're growing, we're hunting.
When you are putting limitations to yourself, you always stay small and never get into the glimpse of what this complete universe and life has for a potential for you to discover. But this is dependent upon what is your mindset.
Anything that is great, you have to fight for. And your calling is great. It is greater than you can even possibly fathom right now. And so, with that, the path is going to be hard. It's going to be hard. So the more we can detach ourselves from the desire for it to be easy and accept our struggle and the difficulty and the adversity and the failure and the dead ends and the sleepless nights as a responsibility to fulfill our greater purpose, wakes up the fighting spirit within you.
We all live in this world where our brains are keeping us in this box. Outside that box is a world that's endless of opportunity. But we are afraid to go outside that box because in that box is comfortable. Outside that box, man, God gives you a shovel and says, man, start digging. That's not fun. But when you dig your own path to all kind of stuff that's unknown.
If you're alone in this world right now, it's a superpower if you decide to use it right. Because you actually have the opportunity to know yourself, while everyone else in this world will spend their entire lives trying to find themselves in someone else. I know how painful it is. I know the misunderstanding is hell. But you would only be more misunderstood if you never took the time to know yourself. Anything worth overcoming puts that pit in your stomach. So you have to understand the pain and realize that sometimes being alone is a blessing.
My favorite Chinese proverb is, everything must be hard before it can be easy. I think it's amazing what you can endure when you have no choice. Because at the end of the day, life is hard, but believing it should be easy makes it even harder.
See, I've come to believe that the secret to success is just not giving up. That life is constantly testing you. That there are going to be days where you don't do the reps. There are going to be weeks where you don't do the reps. There might even be months that you don't do the reps. That's okay. And the reps are the boring, tedious actions that you take every day. And that's how you achieve a goal. What defines your success is not the days where you do it. I actually think it's the days where you come back after you didn't do it. So the day that was really hard at work, or the week that you were really sick and you couldn't do the reps every day, the small tedious stuff, you couldn't get out for your walk, you couldn't sit down and write. It's the day that you return that defines success, because it means you didn't quit. Like if it is day 37, you have not eaten the way you said you would, you have spent a ridiculous amount of money, even though your goal is to get out of debt, and you see that little note where you wrote down your goal, it's okay, it's still there. It's the days where you come back after you didn't do it. That defines success.
How do you build trust with someone? You prove time and time again that when you say you're going to do something, you do it. And what makes you think building trust with yourself is any different? Because if you're the kind of person that fears your future self, the solution is right in front of you. Spend months and years building the evidence that when you say you're going to do something, you follow through. It is not complicated. It's just difficult. If you constantly flake on your own expectations, it's no wonder your relationship with you is nothing but uncertainty. But when you can look back
on undeniable proof that you are the person you claim to be, counting on yourself is not so difficult.
One of the key things in attracting the things we want into our life is to be able to feel as if we have them before we possess them. What we really want in our life, our real dreams, our real ambitions, are feelings. They're not things. One of the things that happens when we feel like we possess something, we begin to act in accordance with that feeling. And as a consequence of that action, those things begin to chase you. So it's not some manifestation thing. When we feel a certain way, we act a certain way. And when we don't, we don't. Spend a little bit more time on giving yourself the gift, or doing the work, frankly, of what would it feel like, and beginning to feel as if you possess the goal. And I also just think the gift of giving yourself the emotions you want will create more health in your body, more vitality, more energy, more optimism, more belief, more confidence. Feel it this week, and then you'll possess it.
Odds against there being another person like you are more than 50 billion to 1. In the entire history of humanity, there will never be two people like you. Never be two people with the same face. Never be two people with the same, even blood composition, exactly. Never be two people with the same outlook, the same talents, abilities, capacities. Never be two people just like you. And that every single person are born with the capacity to do something remarkable with their lives. And the starting point of personal greatness is when you usually say to yourself, what wonderful thing am I going to do with my life? Why am I here? I have this one life, this precious, precious life. And as you know, this life is not a rehearsal for something else. This is the real one. You say to yourself, what am I going to do with my life? Why am I here? What are my unique talents and abilities? Look back into your life and ask yourself, what is it that you've done in the past that you most enjoyed? What is it that you've done in the past that comes easy to you, but which may be difficult to others? What are the things that are indicators that this is where you should be focusing all your talents and abilities? Whatever it is, find it, and then commit yourself to becoming excellent at it.
It says the most beautiful people we have known are those who have known defeat, known suffering, known struggle, known loss, and have found their way out of the depths. These persons have an appreciation, a sensitivity, and an understanding of life that fills them with compassion, gentleness, and a deep loving concern. Beautiful people do not just happen.
You will feel 1,000,000 miles away from your dreams, and then you'll blink, and suddenly, you'll be living them.
I just want you to think for a second. Like, regardless of any struggles that you're facing right now, just think about how good it feels once you actually pull this off. Just think about that. Money's no longer an issue. You're doing something every day that is fulfilling. You're surrounded by people that you love. You're able to travel and do the things that you want to do when you want to do them. You are no longer being controlled by external things. You decide how you want to live your life. You live on your own terms, and you live a life full of fulfillment and purpose and love, all the things that you long for right now. Let me tell you something. That day is in your future, and it's not as far as you might think. You're almost there, my friend, I promise you. All you have to do is continue to show up.
Don't be ashamed of your effort. Midwits hate earnestness and sincere conviction because they can't stand being reminded of the thing they're capable of or resist. Actually trying. People will try to put the same limitations on you that they put on themselves. Don't mistake their insecurities for your ceiling.
I think the first thing a person needs is they need a dream. You gotta have a dream. I don't know how people survive in life with any kind of peace or happiness or fulfillment without having a dream. A dream needs to be something that there is a possibility of fulfilling. Otherwise, it's not a dream, it's a fantasy. But you need a dream. And don't be afraid to dream big. You know, the saying is that if your dreams don't scare you to death, they're not big enough. Your dream needs to be bigger than you are right now.
There's a specific person that you've got to get out of your life right now. It's the person that wants to remind you of who you were. It's the person who wants to remind you of how you used to be, what you used to do, how you used to do it. That used to person's dead. Anybody who wants to resurrect that person cannot be in your life. There is nothing more important than getting people out of your life that want to pretend you're the person you were yesterday. They want to act like you're the person you were yesterday. You're evolving, you're growing, you're advancing. You need to be focused on you right now, and anybody that wants to bring you back, anybody that wants to pretend you are the same person that they knew 1, 2, 6, 7 years ago, get them the hell out of your life.
Trajectory. Focus on your trajectory. You can't keep living in this all or nothing mentality where you have to do the perfect set of perfect things in the perfect order, just like that guy you follow on Instagram does. That guy's full-time job is personal development. He gets paid to sit in a cold plunge. You don't. You are going to make mistakes. You are going to mess up. So if you have that all or nothing mentality, when it's not all, it's going to be nothing. You're going to be the guy that gets one flat tire and then gets out of his car and slashes the other 3 simply because he doesn't have 4 perfectly inflated tires. Makes no sense. The measuring stick is not, am I perfect? The measuring stick is, did I get closer to who I want to be, or did I get further away? Am I moving in the right direction? Am I going down the right path? Focus on path over perfection.
You're doing this for you. And this is something I've only realized relatively recently, but after a certain level of material comfort, the only person that you need to do this thing for is you. Your conscience knows when you're being honest and when you're not. I think optimizing to make that person happy, that conscience happy, is a really good idea.
What if problems were always gifts? What if every single problem really was a gift in your life? What if every problem you ever had was life happening for you, not to you? What if everything in our lives was guided? What if everything in our life was divine timing? Everything, even the pain.
What are you gonna do when no one's watching? Are you gonna operate to your standard, or are you gonna cut corners? I can tell you this, dude. I try very fucking hard to operate in my standard all the time, 24 hours a day, even when no one's watching, especially when no one's watching, because that's when you actually gain more of the discipline and strength that you need to uphold those standards. I think every single fucking human should have a set of core values and a mission statement and a vision for their own lives. And most people don't. Most people just go along with the flow. They swing into someone else's vision and they stay there for a little bit, and they swing into someone else's for a little bit. And then they get to be older in life and they're like, why the fuck has nothing worked out for me? Well, the reason nothing's worked out for you is because you don't live what you say you're about. You don't have a plan for yourself. You don't have a mission statement for yourself. You try to cut the corners when no one's watching. Bro, you'll lose that way. That's just it.
It's always harder, takes longer, and costs more than you think it will. It makes sense because if it did it, then everyone would have it. And if everyone had it, then it wouldn't be worthwhile. And so if it's hard, that's amazing because it will make you that much harder once you conquer it. And it will also make it harder for anybody else who wants to follow in your footsteps. And so the higher up the mountain you climb, the thinner the air gets, and the rarer the climber or explorer must be in order to get there.
If you can survive temporary pain, on the other side of temporary pain, you will meet another version of you. Every time I wanted to quit, I didn't make a decision to not quit the rest of my life. I made a decision not to quit for one more day. One more day, just don't quit. One more day, hang up.
People who win are disciplined about winning. They don't just casually take a look at this. They don't just casually try something. They jump in with both feet because they absolutely intend to win at it. And that's going to require discipline and consistency on your part. As you start to study, you're going to learn things. You're going to learn the skills that you need. That's going to require discipline on your part. All of which, by the way, you can learn any of these skills. You can learn anything, but you're going to have to be disciplined.
There's this revered master who everybody wants to study under, and it's almost impossible to get to him. And so he's interviewing candidates. And the aspiring samurai comes to him and says, "How long will it take me to be a master?" And he says, 10 years. And so then the young samurai, eager to kind of prove himself, he's like, well, what if I work twice as hard and I work day and night to become a master? How long will it take then? And so the master sits back and looks at him and says, 20 years. The young samurai is like, wait, what? How can it take twice as long if I'm working harder? The master replies, if you have one eye fixed on your destination, then you only have one eye left to find your way.
But I think what's truly important is the ability to detach yourself from the outcome. It is one of the most important things that I have adopted in my life. Set the goal, know where you want to go, know where you're aiming, and then let it go. It's possible, in fact, it's probable and likely, it might take you longer to get there. And so what if it does? If it does, you're still making forward progress every single day.
It's really important that we understand that better is not always visible. You can be getting better and it not be public, because very often private victories will precede public accomplishments.
It's okay to fall apart, even after you thought you had everything under control. You're not weak. This is healing. You'll go days without thinking about your past, and then there will be days where we'll all come crashing down. Hold space for all of it. Maybe you won't go back to being who you were before everything happened, but I can assure you, you will find your way forward. Hold on until then, one day at a time.
More you're able to let go, farther you're going to proceed. It is essential. The more your willingness and your ability to let go, the more changes are going to come. It's just like this. For new things to come, old things must go.
Remember, it's not what you have, but what you do with what you have that separates winners from losers. It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to what happens to you that counts. In the final analysis, your response to the adversity of life is the real measure of who you are and what you're made of. The Greek philosopher Epictetus once said that circumstances do not make the man or woman, they merely reveal him to himself. Everyone eventually goes through periods of great difficulty, their own private hells, their dark nights of the soul. But it is by facing whatever life gives us with courage and determination that we grow more surely toward the stars.
When you're looking for validation on the outside, it's because you lack strong values on the inside. To me, success is very simple. Those closest to me love and respect me the most. That's my definition of success. Let me explain that to you because it's so beautiful. This is success on the inside. This is how I built my success foundation. There's something wrong with any of us if people who don't know us well like us better than those who know us well. Once the inside is right, the outside can expand.
Success is measured very differently, right? You have to understand and figure out what success means to you. But if you are not happy with where you are or where you are going, you may be settling. You may be good, maybe you're average, maybe you think you're great, but if you move into a different environment, go into a different sphere, you're gonna recognize you're not. You're just good. And in this day and age, sorry, good is not enough.
You will not find yourself anywhere apart from within. You must isolate your mind. Be alone with your thoughts. Breathe, relax, reflect, ask questions, find answers. Use your imagination to visualize what you feel. And it is also important to be in the right environment. Make this a habit and you will find yourself. And once you find yourself, you will experience true freedom.
There are only 4 fundamental choices to make a change. You either could stop something, you could start something, you could do less of something, or you could do more of something. That's literally the only things you could do. Because if you did the 5th thing is not do anything, that's insanity, right? Doing the same thing, expecting a different result. So you want to create a new result. I'm not saying this is easy, but I'm saying it is pretty straightforward and simple.
I believe that when we die, we meet the person we could have been, the one we were capable of, the life we were capable of having. I want you to imagine for a minute that when you die,
You meet who you could have been.
I'm chasing that guy. The emotions, the memories, the contribution. And I want me to go, man, I was watching you, bro. What a run. Man, I thought you blew it on that one chapter. And then you came back. And then you got knocked down again. Then you came back, you got knocked down again. You did it. You maxed out your life. To me, that's heaven. Becoming the person I'm capable of. Now, hell looks like this. Yeah, I was chasing you. And then this person hurt me. And I had that thing. And then the market. Yeah, I was watching and you had it. And then the thing and it's over. The truth is, I lived my life scared. I underestimated myself, and I ran out of time. Yeah. You don't get to do it again. You live with this forever. I'm really sorry I don't recognize you.
Death isn't just of the physical body. Death is of the ego, ego death. Want to die to yourself is not a physical death. It is a character or an ego death. You must die, your ego must die. Who you are today is no longer resourceful for who you're going to be, who you are to be next. For you to fulfill your greatest purpose here on this planet, in this lifetime, you have to have multiple deaths to immature versions of yourself so that you could be reborn as a stronger version of yourself. That's how the process goes.
It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does always actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat.
First step before anybody else in the world believes it is you have to believe it. There's no reason to have a plan B because it distracts from plan A. Very simple. This is what I believe, and I'm willing to die for it. Period.
I mean, there are no manuals, no shortcuts, no secrets. You write your own manual, you develop your own shortcuts, you find your own secrets. You go where you're drawn to go, and you learn by doing the work. I mean, if you're scared, if it all seems like too daunting, if the machinery of it all seems too big and scary and overwhelming, it's great. You wake up in the morning and you do it anyway.
Don't get better automatically. You only get better because you intentionally make a decision to get better. You have to go from being a person of good intentions to a person of good actions. That's the great separator.
Most important key to achieving great success is to decide upon your goal and then launch. Get started, take action, do something, move. The act of taking the first step is what separates the losers from the winners, or the winners from the losers.
There are times in life when you're going through a hard time and you think you're going through a test. That's not the test. The test is, how do you go through the hard time? And if it's a test that you are designed to fail, how do you handle that failure?
Your story is going to be the greatest story that's ever been told. I'm so glad that you got overweight. I'm so glad that your mindset's all over the place. I'm so glad you haven't been treating the people that you love the greatest. I'm so glad you haven't been working your ass off. I'm glad you haven't changed people's lives or making enough impact yet. I'm glad you got comfortable and complacent, because when you change, this story is going to be that great.
The understanding that winners write history, which means that no matter how difficult whatever the season that you're going through is, just win. Like, keep going until you win. And then once you win, you can rewrite whatever history you want. And that has gotten me through those harder periods, because I just knew that I needed to get through to the other side.
You really want son? you're gonna find a way, ultimately. And it might not be today or next year, or 5 years or 10 years, but this thing takes priority and precedent over all other things. When you don't want something as much as you think you do, of course, bro, just like you said, don't nobody wanna live a hard life. We all wanna make life easy for ourselves, for our families, for our mothers, boom, boom, that's amazing. And the thought of that is amazing. Sometimes your desire might not be enough fuel. You gotta have a strong desire, and when you have a strong desire, that outweighs all other shit.
You are going to die one day, and every single person whose opinion you're afraid of is also going to die one day. And in 300 years, it's probably not going to matter to people whether you did the thing you said you were going to do, or you let people's opinion beat you into submission. And I got news for you, whether you do it or not, people are gonna say, they're either gonna make fun of you for trying, or they're gonna say that you had so much potential and you just didn't try in life, or whatever. No matter which direction you go in, it's gonna come with some bullshit. You can put up with people's opinions and people's comments and actually do the thing you want to do, or you can put up with people's opinions and people's comments and die with regret. What you choose to do with your life, as long as it doesn't harm anyone else, isn't that important to people. Most people are just focused on their own shit, doing their own thing, worried about their own life. So f it.
There is no guarantees. Even if you work hard, there's no guarantee it's gonna work out. I do believe hard work pays off, but no one tells you when. And that's the test. Can you maintain your patience when you don't know when the end is coming? You don't know when it's gonna pay off. You just believe in yourself, regardless of who believes in you.
Take ownership. Don't make excuses. Don't blame any other person or any other thing. Get control of your ego. Take ownership of everything in your world, the good and the bad. Take ownership of your mistakes, take ownership of your shortfalls, take ownership of your problems, and then take ownership of the solutions that will get those problems solved.
If it seems impossible, it's even better. You do it anyway. And as you go, like I said, remember that amidst all that machinery, you're the one who's going to make the picture. You and the spark. In the end, they're one and the same. Guard that, because it's precious. Now it's time to get to work.
Maybe this chapter of your life is meant for you to do it alone. Maybe this is the time for you to practice independency, to do the things you've always known, but kept putting off for some reason. Maybe this phase is for you to be a little bored and lonely, because it might be what you need as you're putting the pieces back together. It might not be fun, but it's necessary, because in order to evolve into the next version of yourself, you need to find out who you truly are.
Everything you do, every choice you make, move you in the direction of what you say your vision is. And when you do that, the forces of life rise up to meet you. The reason why most people have such chaotic lives is because they're living in chaos in their head. And as soon as you get clear, it clears up.
You may be your darkest hour. Know that night don't last forever. There's a morning coming in your life. Stay down till you come up.
There's only one thing a friend of mine years ago taught me when I was coming up, and I was deciding if I was gonna do this, if I was gonna pursue this life. And he's an Indian friend of mine. He said, "Ab nahi to kab." I think that means if not now, then when. So whatever you want to do, ab nahi to kab.
Most people aren't obsessed with their goals because they don't believe they're worthy of them. It's easy to dream about what you want, but in between where you are and what you want, there's a tremendous amount of stuff you got to change and do. But you do have a responsibility to do the work to change so that you can be the happy, fulfilled person that you were born to be.
If I were to shut down, and give in, I remember the accomplishment of it. So at those times where you're questioning if you have anything left, no, a day from then, a week from then, a month from then, a year from then, you will never remember discomfort or the pain. You will always remember the pride of the accomplishment. That lives on. That's why pain is temporary. Pride's forever, guys. You give it your all, you get it all. Tenfold.
You can't just take that one aspect, like I mentioned about John Bon Jovi, like you just mentioned, right? You can't be Tiger Woods and just take the 15 majors without the painkiller addiction, without the public humiliation, right? You can't. You can't take the 28 Olympic gold medals that Michael Phelps has without the depression and the suicide attempts. You can't take Johnny Walker's World Cup medal without the 10 years of pain that followed that, right? So many of these heroes have paid a huge cost to get where they are, huge cost. And we often just look at the upside and not the downside.
This is definitely going to be an unpopular take, but I think there's no greater privilege than having a sense of personal pressure. The pressure to always want to do a little better by yourself, to be a little harder on yourself when you have to, because you can actually take a lot more than you think or what society deems as healthy. To know how good it feels to be in a working flow state, to know how good it feels to be on one of those extreme discipline kicks, to be on a fucking tear with your workouts, your job, your social confidence, to genuinely know how it feels to live as the best version of yourself. And above all, to have a personal desire to want to chase all that. Because it seems so few are willing to push a little harder, even for the things that they know they want these days. Even if you fall off your wave, even if you fall into slumps like every single person does once in a while, even if it can feel overwhelming at times when you're always trying to figure out the best way to get back on the train, man, some people go their entire lives figuring out that there's even a train to catch. I firmly believe that pressure is what truly evolves and grows your identity. There's never any change if there's never any self-induced call to action. And as scary as it can all feel, do not run away from it. Lean into that calling, because that's the ultimate privilege that's going to guide your purpose in life. Neither love nor terror makes one blind. Indifference makes one blind.
Try the treadmill with no music. See how long you do that, because you'll be in your head so much and you hear yourself breathing. You ain't gonna do it as long as you usually do it. When you can put the music on and just go, it takes your mind off of it. You can do the work a lot easier. A lot of the talent that you see out there on the highest level come from circumstances that were such great circumstances.
People don't become successful just by accident. You know, I mean, maybe the guy that found gold in California and started the gold rush, but don't count on that. That's a one in a lifetime kind of a situation. So you got to really have a specific goal. And to me, to have that vision, you have to have a goal. Now, it doesn't have to be that specific goal, but it has to have some goal. This is why I always recommend to people, sit down, take your time, and start thinking about what is your goal.
Suffering creates perseverance. Perseverance creates character. Character creates hope.
So if you think about that, when you have to go through any type of suffering, at the end of that suffering, if you exude perseverance, if you flex your perseverance muscle, you will then add layers to your character to then and only then have more hope in life. In the final analysis, there are two parts of courage. Remember, Winston Churchill once said that courage is rightly considered the foremost of the virtues, for upon it all others depend. Courage is defined as the ability to act and to go forward in the face of uncertainty, is to face the fact that you may not succeed. It's the willingness to take chances and to take risks. The future belongs to the risk takers. The future belongs to people who are willing to take the risks necessary. The second part of courage is persistence. It's the willingness to endure. It's the willingness to hang in there. Once you've started and you have begun, there is a period between when you begin and when you get some result. And in that period, most people break and run. Most people fall apart. They cannot stand not knowing, so they rush back to their comfort zone. But what you have to do is be willing to persist in the face of adversity, even though there is no guarantee of success.
We may encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated. That in fact, it may be necessary to encounter defeats so we can know who the hell we are. What can we overcome? What makes us stumble and fall? And somehow miraculously rise and go on. I know that a diamond is the result of extreme pressure. Less time and less pressure, and it's just crystal or coal or fossilized leaves or just dirt. But time and pressure will create a diamond.
Stop looking for the perfect morning routine, the perfect calendar app, the perfect to-do list, perfect notebook, the perfect logo, the perfect name. Just start. People trick themselves into thinking that they're getting closer to their goals because they're setting up the perfect plan, they're getting the perfect apps in place, they're doing all these things, but they're not. You just need to start. You just need to post an episode. You just need to send the email. You just need to post the video. Just get started first and then worry about all that other stuff later. All that other stuff that you're worried about doesn't matter at all if you never actually start.
But I'm starting to realize, bro, when you dance to your own rhythm, when you play by your own rules, and you living through your vision, that's a perfect indication you're doing it correctly. Because they literally don't see what you see. They don't see it. They don't see what you see. They don't see as far as you see. And they don't understand why you see what you see. They don't even understand where it's coming from internally. They don't. I didn't get that back then. I just knew I had the desire for more. I knew I had a vision that I couldn't ignore.
And I tell you, it's extremely dangerous in this world today. You can either be externally oriented or internally oriented. One is powerful, the other is incredibly weak, and it will destroy you. It will break you apart. If you're externally oriented, always focused on what people think of you, their expectations of you, what mommy and daddy expect out of you, what your friends think you're going to be able to do, etc., etc. If you're always focused on their opinions, you have no space to develop your own confidence. You're continually bouncing back and forth between the opinions of other people. Whereas if you listen to other people, it'll beat you up and you'll never be able to reach the goals that you want to reach in life. So the answer is to become internally oriented, to know what you want, to know what your goals are, to know what your desires are, to know what makes you unique, and to put your focus on that and not on other people's expectations of you.
Disappointment to me, to win, you got to lose. To be successful, you got to have something that's not successful. To be happy, you got to have disappointment. So I think all of those things have evolved and happened to make me who I am and understand the benefits and the privileges I have for being who I am.
I need you to understand that you cannot escape from the pain and the void that's within with your vices and your distractions and your escapisms. The only way out is through. You don't have to remain in that trench and can be drug and vice free with simple realignment of your purpose and daily habits that will change your life forever. That starts with realizing that you are worth that. You deserve that life shift. Just go out and get it.
There's a reason why high-performing people don't have lots and lots and lots of people around them. Anything that doesn't contribute, anything that doesn't push you forward, anything that you feel like you're having to carry that doesn't belong, you have to cut it out. You cannot compete at the highest level or at even a high level carrying all this that comes from your old life. It's impossible, bro. No drama, no gossip, no fucking losers, no low ambition, no non-urgent people. And if you're gonna win, it's gonna take urgency. It's gonna take urgent action. That's reality. The journey is so hard and so competitive, and there's so many people out here trying to do what it is that you do, that if you don't cut that weight, you legitimately cannot compete at the highest level because everybody else at the higher level is fucking great too.
Here's the second thing, is persistence is self-discipline in action. And self-discipline is the foundation quality of a great personality. Everything we've talked about really depends upon our having the discipline to do it. And self-discipline means the willingness to do what you should do, when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. Do what you should do, when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. And if you can persist, you develop the habit of persistence. As you develop the habit of persistence, pretty soon you get to the point where nothing will stop you and you become unstoppable. In other words, everything we've talked about is that you build your own character. You create yourself in the image that you imagine for yourself. And your goal must be to become absolutely unstoppable in anything you do. Your goal must be to set big dreams and to set goals and to take responsibility and, by gum, to make anything out of your life that you want to make out of, to do anything that you want, because there's no limits. At least there's no limits that you'll ever reach or I'll ever reach in our lifetimes.
Life isn't a straight road. Some days, it feels like nothing lines up. The timing is off, the answers don't come, and the moments you counted on slip away. But here's the thing, even in the uncertainty, life has a way of still giving you what you need. The mess is where the magic hides, so embrace the twists and lean into the unknown, because it's in the cracks where the light gets through, and that light is all the reminder you need to keep going.
This world has gone soft because almost nobody has a deep-rooted problem that they just sit with. Another beer probably does the trick for the people that don't want to face what's actually going on with them. Another shallow relationship might be just enough to distract from the all-consuming insecurity. You know, I've had some real hard times, whether you believe it or not. I've felt lonely. I've felt purposeless. I've cried. I've hated the world. I've done it all. But I have never once forgotten what's going on with me, and I never will. It's rare to find understanding in that, because if I'm gonna know for certain that someone won't abandon me, I better know that they've never abandoned themselves. And how many of us are really left?
Believe that you can. Visualize everything that you want to achieve in 3 months, in 6 months, next year, and just hold on to that every single step of the way. Hold on to the way that you see yourself just crossing the finish line, graduating school, hitting a PR in the gym. Just visualize that, because your job is not to avoid the hard parts in life. Your job is to show up.
You're gonna lay in the bed you make. You're not gonna get away with nothing in terms of the energy. That might not catch you for what you're doing, but the energy is always gonna return to you. So when you just living in this cycle of being negative all day and just putting out negativity and that's the only energy you putting out, it's gonna return to you in different form than you put it out in. Master your energy. Do your best to master your energy and what you put out, unless that's what you want. You know, because you entitled to whatever you want to create, whatever experience you want to create for yourself. But if you're tired of that, adjust the energy. You know what I mean? As best you can. Just adjust what you wake up thinking and what you say. And then lastly, what you do.
Don't stress in the face of adversity. Make adversity something you desire for an opportunity to grow.
You have to get used to being alone, because there are seasons where you'll basically transition from one group of friends into another. And it's not even a group of, you'll usually transition from a group of friends into no friends. And then you'll find 1 or 2 people who are at a new level. And then sometimes those people introduce you to some of their friends. And if you keep walking and you keep outpacing, then that group will then start retiring past you. And then maybe one person stays with you, maybe no one does, and you'll have another lonely period. I'm saying this because I used to think that there was something wrong with me, when in reality, I just didn't understand what the nature of being exceptional meant. To be exceptional means that you are the exception. It means that you are not normal. And so it's normal for normal people to find you abnormal if you do things that are not normal.
Resilience is our ability to bounce back. I mean, in the simplest definition, resiliency is our ability to bounce back. But really what it means also is it's our ability not to get pushed that far, not to have to bounce that far back, because we built our resilience to a place where when life happens, and life's happening, life is gonna keep coming. You've either gone through something, you're going through something, or you will go through something. Life's gonna keep coming. Our resiliency, or our ability to take those things on, is a muscle. And it's a muscle that we can work on to allow us to take those things on as they're coming at us. The more we work on it, the better we get at it.
In fact, the more we grow through, not go through, but grow through in our lives, the better that resilience muscle gets. So when these things are coming at us, instead of feeling like the victim, we want to embrace them because they're growing our ability to take things on in the future. And as I grow my ability to take things on, I can start to take them on for the people around me. I can show them how to go through these things and actually grow through these things. Resilience is an important part of who we are. When we build it, we become better able to handle the things that are coming at us and continue to make the world go round.
They're small gains. That's it. And what separates people who achieve their goals from people who do not is simple. People who achieve their goals understand the power of showing up every day and just doing the boring, tedious stuff. That's where greatness is made. It's in the things that aren't fun. It's in the stuff that nobody wants to do. That's the thing most people don't talk about. Goals are boring. All those people you admire that have what you want, you know what they're doing? They're doing the reps. And if you've ever looked at somebody who becomes an overnight sensation, I want you to look at their actual story, because they were doing the reps in the dark for a decade while nobody was paying attention. There is no shortcut here, period.
One day, win today. Then you wake up tomorrow and you do the same thing. And then you wake up on Wednesday and you do the same thing. Then you wake up on Thursday and you do the same thing. And guess what happens then? You create a winning streak. And when you do this long enough, you're forming new habits. Okay, and after a while, winning the day is not hard. It's easy. It becomes automatic. And when you get to the point where you're winning every day and it's automatic, guess what happens? Winning becomes who the f you are. And when winning becomes who the f you are, guess what you become? You become a winner.
What's the number one thing that's holding most people back from reaching their full potential?
The story they sell themselves on. Everyone's got a story. And everyone wants to tell you their story of how bad they had it, how hard they had it. And the more times you tell yourself or others that story, the more you reinforce the fact that you're not meant to have happiness, success, abundance. They don't realize that they still hold the pen. There's thousands of empty pages still in that book that they can rewrite that story. But we have to let go of the pages that others have written in our book and realize we got this pen. And we can start writing how the story looks from this day forward. But what's stopping them is the work that they haven't done. The work of healing through their traumas, their insecurities, their limiting beliefs, the glass ceiling, the whatever the thing is.
The mentality of greatness. And no breaks. I hate to tell people that. Today's time, everybody wants it fast. You can be popular, but to be great, Monday on top of Tuesday, Tuesday on top of Wednesday, Wednesday on top of Thursday, Thursday on top of Friday, Friday on top of Saturday, Saturday, Sunday. Let's start over, let's start over, let's start over, let's start over.
When nothing seems clear, trust that the fog is part of the journey. Man, the fog is part of the journey. So often when we're going down our paths and, you know, there's a lot of fog around us and we can't see, we get so discouraged. We think something is wrong. We feel like the fog is negative. Oh my gosh, I can't see. Oh my gosh, I'm lost, I'm confused, I don't know what's going on. Whoa. Understand the fog is a part of the journey. It's teaching you how to trust. And what is it making you trust? It's helping you to trust in the one step right in front of you. Because whenever you're in fog, you can't see down the road, but you can see the one step in front of you. And you just got to keep trusting that if I keep taking that, even when I can't see, that eventually clarity will come. And you keep doing that, and eventually what happens? You gracefully move through that fog, and you step into that sunlight. You step into that clarity. And it's a beautiful thing. And all that came because you were able to understand that the fog is a part of the journey. Rather than seeing the fog and resorting back or staying stuck, because you had the right perspective of it, it allowed you to move through it and step into the light.
So my big thing is, when I live my life, I want to make sure that when I'm dead and gone, that I wring that wash rag out, and that wash rag is my soul. And I also believe that we're going to end up one day meeting a maker, if you believe in one. And I believe that maker knows everything about you. Everything about you. Knows I was going to be here and is talking to you. Knows everything. But you also have a choice to make. You have a choice to make. We have choices. And the one thing that scares me to death in my life is getting to heaven and not being where I'm supposed to be. And I believe that God has a chart, and he looks at the chart and he puts it in front of you and you get to heaven. He says, hey, this is what you're supposed to be. And one of my biggest fears in life was to see that chart and not have every block checked off. You know, I want to make sure that I'm constantly pursuing whatever it is I'm pursuing just to be the best. Constantly grinding myself into a fine powder.
So don't give up, though the pace seems slow. You may succeed with another blow. Success is just failure turned inside out. It's a silver tint of the clouds of doubt. And you never can tell how close you are. It may be near, but it seems so far. So stick to the fight when you're hardest hit. It's when things seem worst that you must not quit.
Together they said to me, well, how can you continue? Do you have the strength or the will or the enthusiasm or so? And I said, how can you ask this question? It is, if I abandon this project, I would be a man without dreams. And I don't want to live like that. I live my life, or I end my life with this project.
It can't be done. This is why I try to tell you, anything and everything can be done if you can visualize it and if you believe in yourself. Let me tell you, you're going to find the naysayers in every turn that you make. Don't listen. Just visualize your goal, know exactly where you want to go. Trust yourself. Get out there and work like hell and break some of the rules and never, ever be afraid of failure.
Take full responsibility for what happens to you. It's one of the highest forms of human maturity, accepting full responsibility. It's the day you know you've passed from childhood to adulthood, the day you accept full responsibility. I used to have that long list of reasons why I wasn't doing well. I used to blame the government. I used to blame taxes. Look what you got left after they take everything. And they expect you to do well. I used to blame the weather. I blamed the traffic. I used to blame my car. I blamed the manufacturers. See, I used to blame everything outside. And then let me give you a little philosophy to help turn my life around. For your notes, here it is. It's not what happens that determines the quality or the quantity of your life. It's not what happens. It's what you do that changes everything.
Face it. You do not look away when challenges come. You don't blame yourself if at that moment in time you are not able to face it. The only thing you're gonna do is you step back, you take time for yourself, you invest the work and prepare yourself to return.
You just gotta weather it and keep on walking and don't flinch. Don't let them know they got you. And what we do is at a standstill. Or stepping back, because we don't do that. We keep on walking.
I bet you and I have a lot in common. We're not the strongest, smartest, or richest people we know. We're not the fastest or most connected. We're not the best looking or most talented. We don't have the best genetics. But what we do have is something a lot of those other people will never have: the will to work. If there's one unavoidable truth in this world, it's that there is no substitute for putting in the work. There's no shortcut or growth hack or magic pill that can get you around the hard work of doing your job well, of winning something you care about, or of making your dreams come true. Work works. That is the bottom line. No matter what you do, no matter who you are, my entire life has been shaped by that single ideal.
It's all in your mind. Whatever you hold in your mind will tend to occur in your life. If you continue to believe as you have always believed, you will continue to act as you have always acted. You will continue to get what you have always gotten. If you want different results in your life or your work, all you have to do is change your mind.
Self-doubt is one of the many ways we can become enemies of our own progress, saboteurs of our destinies. This can come up as a result of us amplifying our incapabilities. We seem to project failure into our future based off a temporary hurdle, either one that we have overcome or one that's currently in our path. But your analysis of yourself cannot be built on a foundation of deceit. Now, while it is okay and absolutely necessary to locate your flaws and weaknesses, it is not okay to marinate in them. It is not okay to let them overtake your identity. You are not inadequate. You are not insignificant. And you are not someone who is incapable on the very chain of greatness you so desperately seek.
Bruce Lee quote. He said, "In great attempts, even failure is glorious." Failure shows you who you are. So the reality is you love failure. You just don't love it when it's yours. But when it's Kobe, oh yeah. You know, when it's LeBron, oh yeah. He didn't win these championships, look at him now, yeah. You a fan of LeBron, you're really a fan of yourself. You just haven't finished your story.
You know, that's one of the biggest things that just continues to keep people in shackles, is the story they just keep telling themselves each and every day about why they aren't good enough, about why they can't do something, about how it won't work, you know? So really challenge yourself to change the story, change the narrative, the ability to write out our own story, the ability to manifest and to create the things that we want to create in this life.
Do you wonder why you feel like you're not capable? Because you're telling yourself that you're not capable. Stop telling yourself you're not capable. You are capable. Tell yourself, I am capable. I have everything I need to try to do what I want to do. You have everything you need to be capable. But don't listen to the stories you tell yourself.
The question of worth it is reliant on an outcome. We don't make these things for an outcome. It's not the mindset to make something great. The outcome happens, you're making the best thing you can make. It's a devotional practice. Whatever happens after that happens, and that part happens after it is completely out of your control.
You are responsible for your life. And if you're sitting around waiting on somebody to save you, to fix you, to even help you, you are wasting your time, because only you have the power to take responsibility to move your life forward. What matters is now, this moment, and your willingness to see this moment for what it is, accept it, forgive the past, take responsibility, and move forward.
Seneca famously said, "We do not learn in school, but in life." If you want to live a life of success, if you want to develop into a complete person, you must learn from life, the experiences, the people, the places that you go to, and understand that the culmination of your experiences is what gives you the knowledge to make better decisions for your future. But I decided to learn from my experiences. I decided to put myself in situations that were uncomfortable so that I could grow and become better. And the better you become, the better life gets.
If you want the future to change for you, you've got to change. If you don't change, the next 6 years of your life is going to be just like the last 6. You'll still be behind on your bills. You'll still be behind on your promises. If you will change, everything will change for you. If you will get better, everything will get better for you. If you'll change your philosophy, if you'll change your habits, if you'll refine your thinking, if you'll change and accept some new disciplines, if you'll turn the corner where you've been in the past, go for a new life for the future, all kinds of remarkable things will happen for you if you will change.
like everyone else. You want to learn the way to win, but never to accept the way to lose. To accept defeat, to learn to die is to be liberated from it. So when tomorrow comes, you must free your ambitious mind and learn the art of dying.
If you had tough shit happen to you, it sucks, and it's not your fault. But now what? Where do we go? My 2 cents: win anyways, and prove that you can win even when the chips are stacked against you and you're dealt a lousy hand. Because we can't get dealt a new hand, we gotta play the cards we got rather than hoping the dealer rules in our favor. So again, what do you do with your shitty hand? The only thing possible, you play it the best you can.
Understand that your attempt to be better cannot be based off your previous understanding of your lesser self. You are not who you used to be, no matter how little the difference is. Remember this, just because you can't do something right now or haven't been able to do so in the past, does not mean you won't be able to do so tomorrow or sometime in the future.